It's 8 AM and I'm down in this ravine again. I've spoke before about the difficulty of leaving the matrix, going into the wilderness of one's mind. When you don't have any obligation, when you are not bound by the monetary constraints of the matrix, then the world becomes your oyster. And along with that comes a multitude of choice. And the choice then can be an issue if you're anything like me, because what happens is I like to do many things and I like to experience many places. And so if I get to contemplating about, well, what experience do you want next, Aaron? Then I can think, well, I like mountains. Oh, okay, then let's have a look where mountains are then. Let's go to some mountains. And then I'm like, yeah, but I like forests. Well, let's have a look at where some forests are then. Yeah. But I like beaches too. Oh, okay, let's have a look at... Let's see if we can find some mountains, some forests and some beaches all together. Okay, let's start looking at that. And then you look at that, and then you go, well, how far is that? Well, you know, maybe a few hours on a plane. Is there anywhere nearer? Well, you know, there is places nearer, mate, but, you know, depends how fussy you're going to be. Well, is it going to be warm? It needs to be warm. I don't want to be wrapped up in all these clothes with the wind blowing and the rain coming down. Oh, okay then, you're a bit of a fussy fucker, aren't you? So you want mountains, you want forests, you want beach, you want the openness, you want a very temperate climate, you don't want to fly too far. What about your house? Well, I want it to be right there, nestled, within like half a mile of all these things. Fucking hell. Okay, you know, you're really narrowing it down. Yeah, I am. Why are you narrowing it down so much? Because I can't be bothered these days. I can't be bothered with what? I can't be bothered with data. Every night I go to bed and I'm contemplating. You've only got 10 days left. You've only got 9 days left. You've only got 8 days left, mate. Where are you going? I don't know where I'm going. What does it really matter where I go? We've got to go somewhere because your tenancy agreement is over here, and then you're going to find yourself without shelter. And it's going to be a bit difficult then, bro. Fucking hell. So what have I got to do then? Well, you've got to go back into the matrix. Oh, fuck. Back into data. Yes. When you leave the matrix and you leave the monetary aspect and you leave data, one thing I can't stand these days is secret fucking numbers for this and secret fucking numbers for that, and remembering your secret fucking code for something else. I can't stand it. When I no longer needed accounts for energy and for water and for my council tax obligation and providing my address and all my details, when I didn't need to do that, wow, that was such a freedom. And now, I sent somebody some money by Western Union the other day, and they say, what's your address? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What fucking address? You know, where do you live? I don't live anywhere. Well, have you got some identification with your address on it? And I'm like, well, Okay, I've got a driver's licence. And I give them that, and I'm thinking, what address is on that? I don't know. I've no idea. I've always had many driver's licences. I've always gone to another address and applied for another licence, telling them I've lost that licence. So I've had 5 licences on one occasion. And the reason why I've always done that is because if you go to a foreign country and then they want to take your licence away from you, so what? If you go to hire a car, you give them that licence. If you want to drive across the state and you don't want to take the car back, so what? You just phone them up, tell them where it is. Or leave it at another depot. I used to have 2 passports. If you apply for another passport saying you've lost it, then you don't get it clipped. Okay, so it still looks legit. And so then when you go to another country and the police want your passport, or the hotel wants your passport, you can give them the duplicate. So you're never bound. If you get into an altercation or if you have some trouble, you've got to leave that country, you've got your passport. And so I've always done that. I've always been meticulous about data. I used to be a master at juggling data, but now I just can't face it anymore. And I've got one secret password for every single thing I use. Google account, email account, YouTube account. You know, it's enough. Bank account. I wish I didn't need any of them. So I wake up in the morning and it's like, oi, what are you going to do about this accommodation thing? I'm like, fucking hell, you again. Yes, this is the reality of this matrix speaking to you. You're slipping away, mate. You've got to come back. You're losing yourself in the oblivion of your own mind. You have a general apathy setting in. And all you want to do, all I do, you know, when you don't have internet, I wake up in the morning and I open my eyes and I look around the room. And I consider my mind, what I'm thinking. And then I lay there. I'm thinking, well, I could go somewhere. I could walk somewhere. I've walked loads of places. I'll walk later. So what? I've now got like 16, 18 hours or whatever it is I'm going to stay up for. What am I going to do with it? I'll just lie here. And I just lie on the bed. And sometimes I sleep, sometimes I go into meditation. Sometimes I think, fuck it, you got to get up and do something. So I play my guitar. It's a form of meditation. And then when I go to bed, it's like, have you sorted out that accommodation yet? No, not yet. Why? In my life, things have a way of making manifest. And I can't force anything. Because if I try and force something, then all that happens is a level of frustration comes about. And your head gets filled with shit. And this has happened so many times in recent times when I've been under pressure to find somewhere. Because being in a holiday accommodation, it's always temporary. But the temporary aspect of it gives me the freedom of not having an internet account, a water account, electricity account, a gas account, council tax account. You know, where everybody wants to have an account of me. Fuck you, I'm not being accountable for anybody. I'm going to come and I'm going to leave. And none of you fuckers are going to know I've even been here. And that's it. And that's what I like. And so now when I'm looking for accommodation, even in my own country, if you go to an internet site and you want to get a flat for a few months, there's a fee to pay. And then they want to know, where were you before? And what job do you do? What employment level? Oh, let us see your bank details and all this sort of thing. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does it matter where I was before? Oh, because we want to do checks on you. Fuck your checks. I can't be bothered to get involved with that. I just want to go somewhere, I want to pay for a period, and then I want to leave. So being out in this, in the wilderness, and within the wilderness of one's own mind, you don't have to consider data. You don't have to consider what time does this bus leave? What time does it get here? How many hours will I wait at the airport? What time's my flight? What is the duration of the flight? When will I arrive? How can I liaise then with a bus or a train? And all this sort of thing. Data, 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 data. Get all this paper with all this data and all this bullshit, and it's like, ah! I'm struggling with it, people. Increasingly, I'm struggling with it. And I don't know what to do. This is the thing that I said that we have to be careful about. Fortunately, I've got money. If I never had any money, I couldn't work. Seriously. Get up at a certain time, be somewhere at a certain time, be there for a certain period, and then leave at a certain time, and drink something at a certain time, and eat something at a certain time, and receive your payment at a certain time, and then you've got a certain allocation of time where you can go and try and enjoy yourself before you got to be back at a certain allocated time to do some more bullshit. Fucking, there's no way on this earth. I haven't done that in 12 years. I can't ever do it again. So if I can't earn any money, then I'll just end up on benefit at some stage. Back in that domain where I've only got to be in one place at a certain time every 2 weeks. I'll suffer that. I can manage that. But the rest of the time is mine. Being out of the matrix is okay. If you're completely independent, if I had my own property and I was content to stay in it for the rest of my days, which evidently I'm not, if I have a property, it's a ball and chain to me. Great for the first 6 months, year. Then, when you want to get shot of it, no fucker ever wants to give you what, you know, it is worth, or, you know, realise you're a bit of a profit on it. Everything, nobody's got any money. When you come to sell something, isn't it amazing how no fucker's got any money? Nobody ever wants to give you, you know, what you want for it. And yet when you go to buy something, everybody wants the fucking world. And you go, well, what the fuck? How does that work? When I wanted to buy properties, oh, properties are going up, oh, it's expensive here, oh, you know, there's a lot of demand here. When I bought a property, and then when I want to sell it, oh, yeah, times are hard, oh, nobody's looking for property, oh, it's not a very good area. How does it fucking change like that overnight? This is the thing, on my last property, fucking disaster, fucking disaster. Time before that, for the 2-3 years that I had it, was a fucking disaster. Miraculously, I made good money out of it in the end, but that was just more luck than judgment. I just don't want to get embroiled in anything like that again, any of that insecurity. And so, in a nutshell then, people, I'm travelling around the world, and every time I book somewhere to stay. I'm like, oh, I've got a month, I've got 2 months before I have to think about anything again. And then I'm just, whoo, I'm gone. But then increasingly, coming back, you start to get, oi, okay, I know. Then you leave it a few days, then it's like, oi, okay, I'm going to look on the internet. And you look on the internet tentatively, then you do it a bit more, and it takes, just like for instance, just to get here, it took me 2 weeks every fucking day, you know, for hours sometimes, mind-bendingly, searching to where I'm going to be settled. You know, I've got certain criteria that I need these days. And then there's certain parameters which I want to acquire my needs within. And this time of year, everything goes, woo! It's summertime, you know, people want to go on holiday. So we're going to fuck you all in the ass. Big time. Because all the property is going to be 4 or 5 times more than you'd pay for it any other time of the fucking year. Ooh, and there's no availability. Because we've got all you fucking idiots tied up. And you can only get away at a certain period, a certain time of year. And so we know that time of year. And so we're waiting for you. We've set our gauntlet and all you fucking idiots have got to travel down it. And we're going to catch you like fucking salmon in the river with bears all hanging around. You know, the salmon, they migrate back to their breeding grounds every year. And the bears, no. And they just sit there waiting. And they all suddenly, thank you very much. And this goes on for weeks. And this is what it's like. I don't like it. I don't like being fucking captured by them cunts. And so I'm looking to avoid it the best I possibly can. What you have to do, you have to go where the herd don't go. Oh dear people. Being away from the internet. Being away from people. Being alone. Very much alone. When you wake up in the morning and you look around the room and you go, oh, I'm here again. You go to bed at night, you look around the room, you go, oh, I'm here again. And what's there? What's there really? Just your mind. That's all that's there. And it doesn't matter where you are, one thing is always going to be there. And that's you. And so, if we are lost in this wilderness, and we don't have anything to occupy us, or to distract us, this is the thing, if we don't have any distraction, then you just slip into the abyss, because you want to do less and less, you care for less and less. It becomes just so easy not to do anything. You get very used not to doing anything. And as soon as you've got to do a little bit of something, it becomes a big deal. But when you are immersed in it, and you're a doer, and you do, and you do, and you do, and you do, and you're doing, and you know, it's like water off a duck's back. You're all fluid with it because you're completely immersed in it, and this is what you have been conditioned into doing, and then you can keep doing it. And I don't know. You see, I've said that you know, there's a certain beauty for emancipating the mind and getting away from all that bullshit, getting outside the matrix. But then there's certain issues that you've got to contend with when you're outside of the matrix. I think about friends, I think about family, and I think, I don't want to see any of them, except my daughter. It's like, jeepers, I've got to go back to London. I've got to get 2 buses, I've got to wait in the fucking airport, I've got to get a flight. When I get to London, I've got to take another couple of trains and tubes. And then when I get there, great, you know, see her for a couple of days. And then it's kind of like, all the time I'm thinking, well, I've got to get more fucking buses, more planes, trains. Where am I going? Back in the data matrix again. It's a difficult one because you leave everybody. I mean, I don't want to see my brothers and sisters. I'm really indifferent if I ever see them again. I'm really indifferent about any friends that I've ever had, except Paul. Because he has a level of understanding with me. But anybody else, lost in space. And so I'm thinking that I don't know whether it's a good thing. All of you watching, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of you say you've got to have relationships. Because if you don't have relationships, then you will be lost in your own mind. Like I am. I'm just, all I want to do is stare. All I want to do is just feel rocks. Oh, and look at plants and birds and things like that. And it's kind of like, almost, well, yeah, in a dream. And then when I start to thinking about, you know, you've got to start thinking about data soon, I'm like, data? Fucking hell. Data? What the fuck? Oh yeah. I'm Aaron. I'm in the Matrix. I'm in this dream. You know, every time I say that, every time I say, Aaron, you're dreaming, mate. You're dreaming. You're dreaming. It's like I'm in a DMT experience. It's the same thing. It's the same knowing. It's only a dream. Hello. You're dreaming. It's surreal. And then you just go, oh, I'm in this valley and I'm on rocks and my place is up there and, oh, fucking hell, there's a whole big matrix out there. And then I can just come back down and go, Aaron, hello. And you feel this abyss about you, this solipsism. There's only me. There's only me. There's only me. Playing a game. It's a case of how much you want to engage in the game. If you want to engage fully in the game, then you forget about you being God, you being the creator. You find yourself, I don't know whether you can experience this via other means, but through psychedelics, when your mind goes into another realm, your mind never leaves that realm. It's always there. I can now tap into this DMT world, and I do it just like now. I can just be back into this realization that I've created everything. When I'm walking around on shrooms, when I'm in DMT, it's me. I'm everything. I'm absolutely everything. But what I've done, I've turned off the knowledge of that to allow me to be free from the solipsism, because that's maddening, knowing that there's only you. You're God. In the end you go, I don't want to be God. I don't want to be God anymore. Everything's in here. Everything, I know everything. I just wish I could forget. Why can't I forget? And then somehow you've opted for, or you've created, the ability to forget. But when you forget and you're in it completely, fine. But when you start to remember, and then you look at it and you go, holy fuck. Are you serious? Are you serious? I create my reality. And so, I need to come back to what I opted to do, and to make certain realizations that I came here to do something. What is it I came to do? What is it I came to do? I have to remember that. I have to engage back in it. But now I've got 2 feet in 2 worlds, and I'm stepping between the 2. It's not easy, people. It's not easy. I have to look at this world a bit like a candy store, whereby I go in and I can choose anything I want. What's my fancy? Today I'll have this and that. Tomorrow I'll have 2 of those and 1 of those. I think that's what we have to do. We have to treat this matrix like a candy store, people. Only it's a candy store where you don't need money. If you have the mindset to know that it's your candy store, what the fuck's wrong with you? You want to go be paying for things that you already own? It's your candy store, people. And so what we have to do is we just have to go, well, what's my fancy today? What is it? What's your desire? But being like a child in a candy store, you can go in and it's a new candy store, say, and you're looking all around and it's like, ooh, wow. And like when I used to take my daughter and, feverishly, she used to be, grabbing for, loads of things like this. And because, she thought, well, fuck it, My dad owns this candy store. He's not put any restrictions on me. So she was going for it. And I'm like, come on, no. You're going to put half of these back and this, that and the other. And so there's decisions to be made. And so you have to go in the candy store and you have to go, okay, right then. Yesterday I had this, that and the other. Tomorrow I'm going to have that, the other and something else. What is it I'm going to have today? And then you have to be selective like that. I think that's what you have to do. And this is the whole thing about setting goals, isn't it? Setting goals. But my goals these days are so tiny. They don't involve this lineage and level of application, like you've got to get this bit of data before you get that bit of data, and data. You know, like when you're running the business, there's an enormous amount of data. My whole world was fucking data. Everything was data. Can you imagine? When you start to think about it, you are just data. You are effectively just a computer juggling numbers with all these super accounts you've got and all this money aspect. Everything's a money exchange. Everything's a digital exchange. Your whole world is a digital exchange. Everywhere you go is a digital exchange. And then you look at yourself from that perspective and you go, what am I really? I'm just partaking in this computer. This digital exchange. Mad. Well, I've got to try and work it out. And I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. But I'm happy. I'm free. I don't have any anxiety about it. That's the thing, people. There's no anxiety. Because I realised the dream. And it doesn't even matter about just not bothering about anything. Just thinking, well, what really can happen if I don't have any money or if I don't have any possessions? You know, what's the worst that can happen? And it depends where you place yourself, you see, because if in Africa, what's the worst that can happen? You will die. If you are in a first world country, then there's a system set up that wants to keep you alive. Why? Because you are a bonded citizen. You are owned by your nation. Your nation wants to keep you alive because it wants to keep energizing you. It wants you to keep producing more than you are using. That's what this world is about, really, in the first world. It's about keeping you alive, keeping you constructive, keeping you producing, keeping you earning for the powers that be. So therefore, they don't want you to die. It's not like in Africa. They don't give a fuck because they're not getting any revenue from you. And 90% of the population is not producing nothing for the benefit of the country. And so the country goes, what the fuck do we want all this fucking surplus requirements for? We don't. And so the more of them that die, the better. The more resources is left over for the others. But in the first world country, we're all valuable. Our energy is valuable. And so they want to keep our level of energy for as long as they possibly can. It's their investment. They've made that investment in us, putting us through school and college, even though they get us to pay for the college now. You know, even like with the pensions, they offer you a pension, but they even want to take that back now. They're getting really, really fucking shrewd about everything. And they're just going, how much of a piss take is this? We can just tell them that you're free at 65, and then we can change our minds. We can go, you're free at 70. How many people live to be 70? Not many. And then those that do live to be 70, we can go, sorry, the money's gone. Where's all the money gone? Who's got all the money? We don't. We don't know. We don't know where it's gone. And all the people go, they don't know where the money's gone. Oh no, I've not got no money. Okay, I've got to go back out to work. People 70 years old going back out to work. Fucking stroll on. Wake up, people. Don't do it. They won't let you die. They'll pay for your sustenance. They'll pay for your shelter. They'll pay to keep you alive. Okay, enough's enough today. Hasta luego.